TV family. Catch us live on your TV screens.
Welcome back to Ekse. You're watching Influence Youth, and this is Lusimadio talking to you. Well, today we are going to talk about influencing for change. Why influencing for change? Because there's many people maybe have difficulties to actually bring influence to people in order to promote change to other people's life. But it's not just that, but it's even for ourselves. When we actually try to get influenced on something to promote change on ourselves. But I would like us to have this better conversation with somebody who have experienced that. So in our platform today, we have a very wonderful lady I've met, and I really like her energy, you know. And when I was actually reading about her bio, and I was really amazed with her story. So I want you to meet her, and this is Lee Anne Meagan. How are you?
I'm fantastic, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much. It's good to have you in the platform.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, I would like you to talk more about yourself and what you do. Let us know, who are you?
Well, I'm really just an ordinary lady with extraordinary dreams. I'm originally from Johannesburg, small township called Recher Park. And I've been in Cape Town for almost 3 years now. It was really just a leap of faith that I took at a time when I hit rock bottom in my life because I had a nervous breakdown. So I was actually diagnosed with clinical depression. So I made the tough decision as to whether to come to Cape Town and start afresh to obviously focus on my health and get better, or do I stay in Joburg in a very high pressurized corporate job where I was doing exceptionally well, but to the detriment of my health.
Wow, that's really wonderful. That's really good. But something I want to know, what really motivates you? What is your motivation through all that you have experienced in the past with the mental illness and everything? What really motivated you to keep pushing until now?
I must say, you know, for me, I'm a strong God-fearing woman, so I find my strength from God.
Yes.
Everything that has really happened to me is just because of God's grace and His awesomeness. So I resonate on the word, on praise and worship. I just try and stay positive as much as possible. It's not always easy, but I choose to focus on the positive, and I choose to exercise gratitude every day.
That's wonderful.
You know, for the little that I have. I mean, we all go through stuff. Life happens to all of us. And at the end of the day, we still have a lot to be grateful for. The fact that we've come this far in 2020 with surviving Corona, and that that you and I are here today, that in itself is a blessing. So my biggest motivation and strength comes from God. I'm surrounded by amazing prayer warriors. I have fantastic friends. So
Wonderful.
I'm really blessed with a really great support system.
That's really great. That's really great to hear. You know, I know that there are many young people that have been suffering the same that you have suffered before. But let us know a little bit, what are the struggles that actually you have experienced in the process to your change?
Well, firstly, with mental illness, for me personally, I used to be a perfectionist. So I always wanted to look the part. So it's great having this look. But at some point, I was a wreck inside. And with perfectionism, I always strive to be perfectionist within the workplace as well. And, you know, life isn't perfect at the end of the day. So when I was diagnosed with this mental illness, it took me a very long time to accept it. So for many years, or not many, but yeah, for some time, I was in denial. And obviously there's a stigma attached to mental illness, you know. So I felt shame, I felt embarrassed, I felt not good enough. And that also affected my self-esteem. I was worried about what people thought and, you know, the gossip at the end of the day, because there is a lot of negativity attached to mental illness. And I think more specifically within the non-white communities, I think, you know, a lot of us, our parents grew up in a certain way, very conservative, very, where they weren't, you know, open to or exposed to seeing psychologists or psychiatrists. And now I find myself in a space where I come from. I grew up in a very conservative household, and I had this mental illness. So I felt I had a negative attitude towards it. But as soon as I overcame that denial, then healing took place. Once I started cooperating with my doctors and, you know, taking charge of my life, then healing took place, and I got stronger, and things got much better.
Wonderful. That's very nice to hear. You know, there are many out there that also are having the same problems. And, you know, facing these difficulties, like people talking back to you in an evil way, in a form that is actually affecting you instead of changing you for good, you know, it's not easy. But I would like you to say, like, give an advice to the young people that are facing that kind of difficulties. They are facing this mental illness. They need support, they need help. Because I know you have something to tell them that can change them.
Yeah.
So what can you tell them to motivate them?
Well, there's so much, eh? I think the most important thing is to your mindset. You need to have the right mindset. You need to have the right attitude. The change needs to come from you. In addition to that, if there is help available, no matter what it is, whether it's from a medical professional or your pastor or your cell leader or a teacher or a friend that you trust, get the help. Tell them, confide in them, speak about your issues. Do not bottle things up. You know, there are services that doesn't cost much, or if anything at all, where you can get help and guidance, because mental illness is something that's real, and it is something that we, unfortunately, no matter how strong you are, no matter how powerful you are, no matter how wealthy you are, you can't do it on your own. You need a support structure. So my advice would be to, if you're having issues, if you're having any type of challenge, something, whether it's mental, emotional, even something physical, because I mean, like, for example, some girls struggle with anorexia, which is also an issue. Speak to someone that you can confide in, speak to someone that you trust, and ask for help. It is okay. There are people that will help you. And then seek God, you know, like, for me, I love music, I love dancing, so dancing, I started a dance journey, and that was also part of my healing, because dancing is my happy space. So, you know, listen to music, listen to positive music, feel-good music, you know, upbeat music. And also look at who you surround yourself with, because who are you listening to? What are you watching? Yes, we all have our various interests and hobbies and stuff, but what are you watching? The content. If you're watching TV, movies, series, what is the content? The people who you spend your most of your time with. What kind of conversations are you engaging in? Are they uplifting conversations? Are they constructive conversations where you can have healthy debates and bounce thoughts of each other? Are the people that you're spending the most time with, are they celebrating your victories, but also crying with you when you're going through the hardships? So all those things are very important, and at the end of the day, one needs to have a balance in life. I also think that, you know, self-care is very important. I think nowadays we live in a society where the youngsters are faced with a lot of peer pressure. A lot of the youngsters are influenced by, you know, your celebrities. They look at people's social media platforms, and they see people like living lavish lives with fancy stuff, which is great. It's great to have nice things, but we mustn't become consumed by it, and do not be misled by what you see on social media. So yeah, it's basically, you need to take care of yourself first and foremost. Love yourself. Speak positively about yourself. Know that you are You are a unique individual. You are created perfectly in God's image. You have so much potential. Where you come from does not determine where you're going. If you have the right attitude, the world is your oyster.
Perfect.
Nothing is impossible.
Wonderful. We actually have received the best of advices ever. So thank you very much for being there, and do not go away because something good is about to come later. We are coming back. Cheers.
CTV family, catch us live on your TV screens.